Welcome to the Black and Gold Report here on OaklandHockey.org. We are joined by Grizzlies forward Frank Matyok. First of all, Frank, how's it going?
Good, Corey. Thanks for having me.
No problem, Frank. First of all, you guys have had an exhibition game against Kalamazoo, had a couple practices under your belt. How are your legs feeling after a long off season?
Legs are feeling all right. We had 3 good skates, and a lot of the guys did a lot of skating over the summer, and we were shaking out some of the kinks and cobwebs there, but for the most part, I thought we competed for a better part of the game and showed a lot of signs of domination in the game, and it's a good sign for things to come this season.
Speaking of good signs, any specifics on what was particularly good, especially about yourself in that exhibition game?
Like I said, we were shaking out some of the kinks, and I think it was a good thing that I was able to pick up on a couple of things that I've been doing wrong, a couple of mental errors that can easily be fixed, and that'll come with a couple more practices, and come that first game, I think we'll all be ready to go.
Speaking of the first couple of practices, has there been anyone that in a good way surprised you out at practice that's new that you didn't know too much about or kind of have different expectations of now that you've seen them out there at practice in the exhibition game a bit?
Didn't know a lot about some of the players coming in. Anthony Coles, he's going to be a big time gamer here for us. Freshman coming in, filling a pretty big role. We added a lot of depth on the offensive side and the defensive side, and I think that might have been one thing that we struggled a little bit with last year with some of the injuries with Jeff Shue and Cody Farber, a couple of injuries on the defensive side. So hopefully we can stay healthy this year, and our goaltending's solid. So we definitely have a team to make another run in Nationals.
And then, speaking of making a run, what are some of the positives here as a senior this year that you can take and kind of help teach some of the younger guys, the new guys, that can carry over good habits, things like that?
Well, I've been on both sides of the tournament so far here, my first couple seasons with Oakland. The first season, we won the first game and lost the second and got sent home early. And last year, we made it all the way to the end, came that close. And, it's something that I'm sure all the guys think about all the time. And fortunately for myself and a few of my other teammates here, we get another bite at the title. And I think losing that game in the finals just makes us all want it that much more.
And another thing this year is the importance of getting off to a fast start right off the bat. 4 conference games that are going to have implications when we're sitting down in February and March discussing where the team is and where the seedings are in terms of Kent State, and then 2 against U of M Dearborn. How key is it to get off to a quick start, and what are some of the things that you guys can do to make sure that happens?
It's always key to get off to a good start. You never want to let those games slip away that on paper you should win, but that just goes as far as saying, you can't take a shift off, can't take a night off. You got to battle every practice, every period, every shift. Like you said, those games in February, when you look back at the standings, you don't want to be saying, that's a game that we should have won. You don't want a game that decide, a game that you should have won decide a ranking, as in moving down a rank. As far as what we need to do to get off to a fast start, we need to play discipline. We got to stay out of the box and keep our feet moving and draw penalties instead of take penalties here. And we've got to get off to a quick start, first period, and just attack.
And also, one of the things too is that the team seemed to have at times last year issues putting it together for a whole 60 minutes. They would sometimes struggle in the first period of play, as we just talked about, the key to getting off to a fast start, and then sometimes turn it on in the second period and play solid for half of the third period. In addition to getting off to a fast start, what are adjustments and things that you can do to get that full 60 minutes? Is that something that's going to come with the some of the big additions that the coaches have made this summer?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I feel we added some depth up front, some strong, powerful forwards that are going to be able to put the puck in the net. And I think the coaches picked this team based around the style of play we play that fits our forecheck, and we kind of got that, dump the puck in and get in there, throw body, and look for turnovers in the slot, and I think that's key. The first couple shifts of the games, you get a couple of chances there, and you're all over them. I feel that's key to putting together one of those 60-minute type of games, opposed to getting off to a slow start and giving up the first couple shots or giving up the first goal. It's a momentum killer, and you definitely want to be on the better end of that when it comes to scoring the first goal and being the team to attack first.
You're one of those guys who, I'm sure when teams start looking at the scouting report, going over things, they're obviously focused on the Hoffners, the Novaks, the Coles and those type of guys. And then we have a guy like you who is able to just bury the puck, make some good passes, be in good position, and kind of be one of those big X factors that some teams that might not be counting on out there. So what are some of the things, rather, that you can do to elevate your game? Because obviously you had a big year last year and made big strides in a step forward. And what are just some of those things you can do to keep that going and be just that big, huge X factor for this team?
Well, I'm looking to have another big year. I've never been known as a flashy skater out there, but I play my role, and I've always had good vision on the ice and make passes that some guys don't make from out behind the net or across the crease. I've just got a knack for moving the puck to my teammates, kind of a pass first, shoot second guy. But it's teams might overlook my ability to skate, but I feel like I definitely contribute my part out there on the power play and on the defensive side of the puck. And once I shake some of these cobwebs off from the off season and get in good shape, top shape here, game shape, I'm looking to have another big year.
And that's one of those things too, as you said about your skating, and that's one of those things where you go out and you surprise teams with your ability to set guys up, put the puck in the net, and it's just one of those things that it's a good thing that you're on our side here at Oakland, because you are huge down the stretch and huge in some of those big key games. And with that, looking at some of these big key games, looking at some of those emotional type games, how do you guys teach the traditions, the history of the program, the history of some of the big games here? Obviously, we have the Davenports, the Adrians, not looking ahead or anything, but just, the tradition of the team. How does that get taught down to the new guys?
I mean, like you said, it's tradition. Everybody knows it. It kind of gets passed down and passed on. I'm sure it will continue to. These big games are games that, like you said, you don't want to look into the future. You want to take it one game, one practice at a time, but in the back of your mind, they're always there. And if you can't get up for a Davenport or an Adrian game, then there's clearly something wrong there. These games are just, it starts on that Monday, the week of the game in practice. Everybody just seems more fired up, and it's like that extra incentive. I just remember the game last year before the game 5 of the series for the Ducks, how fired up we were in practice, and everybody's hollering in practice. And I'll tell you what, there's no better feeling than winning that Duck and getting in the locker room and singing the fight song with the team and having the vets being there and or the alumni being there. It's an overwhelming feeling.
Speaking of getting fired up, last question here is game coming up against Kent State. We touched on it a little bit off the top, but now it's kind of game week here, and we're down the week before the game. You're getting into that game mode. conference game, what are some of the things that you can do to be fired up? Because Kent State is a team that's been in the national tournament. They have some big wins the past couple of seasons under their program's belt, and they're looking to make that move, shock the GLCHL, get in there and be one of these top three things. So, what are some things that you guys are going to do this week in terms of getting that energy level high and being ready?
Well, I think it goes without saying that everybody's going to be really, really amped up to, throw the home jersey on Saturday. But we got to look at Friday first, and everything tightens up this week. The passing, the bearing down on shots. Everybody's competing with each other to push each other, make each other better. The coaches take part in that too. They're out there and they're trying to, provoke some of the energy. And Zach does a good job motivating us, and Gordy does too during the week. They really push us because, if they could be out there, I'm sure they'd be as fired up as we are. We get the chance to go out there, and we got a lot to prove this year. And for myself and the other vets, and I'm sure for even most of the rookies coming in, they know how important this season is, especially with how we finished last year. And there's only one spot better we can finish this year, and that's really the only thing on our mind. Long-term goal here is winning a national championship and putting the team ring on here. So things are going to buckle down this week, and we're just going to have high tempo practice, crisp passes here, and we're going to be ready to get her on Friday.
And then I did my final question here. How do you guys kind of control some of the high expectations? Team looks great on paper. Obviously, that doesn't mean anything once that puck drops, but there's certain guys like me that just have super high expectations for the team this year. How do you guys control those and just take things one period at a time and not worry about that stuff, right?
It's all about who wants it more out there. I mean, on paper last year, we might not have been the most skilled. We might not have had the deepest team in the tournament, but we caught fire from goaltender on out. Everybody did, and it just goes to show that hard work will outwork talent on paper any days. And it's just like you said, you got to put together one of those 60-minute games, and we were able to put together a few of them right at the end of the season. And I feel like with the team we have this year and the players and the whole staff behind us that believes in us, we should be able to make just as far of a run, if not farther.
All right, thank you very much, Frank, for joining us here on the Black and Gold Report. That's Grizzlies forward Frank Matyok here, and best of luck this season, Frank.
All right.